What up? What's up, fam? We're back. 49 Faithfully. We're your hosts, Miriah Lee and Teran Lewis. TL, happy Tuesday. How you doing?
Happy Tuesday. We had to surprise everybody and do it a day earlier.
Mm-hmm. Day early. Chat, happy Tuesday. Hope everybody is doing well. Hope everybody had a safe and wonderful weekend. Good to see you all. Hashtag PAYDAY to get into the first giveaway. Let's see who we got here. Throwback. Throwback. He does so much. Like, he's like hidden behind this. Like, we know his real name, but he's hidden behind this Bosa picture, not a real face first name. And yet he is like everywhere doing everything for the 49ers content creators. So
Yeah, he's so
shout out to
supportive.
you, Throwback. Yes. Like,
So
it's
supportive.
I tell you, I know I tell you all the time that I appreciate you, but I can't tell you enough how much I appreciate you. And not just for what you do for me. Like, I love to support anybody that I can. And so to see you as well supporting everybody, like, so it's not just love because you support me in TL or because you support me and Steph. Like, it's love because you support me, us, all of us, and like, I just really appreciate that. So
Yeah.
shout out to you, sir. Dawn, what's good? Dawn, she's gonna get moderator of the year, probably. You guys better watch out. She's all over doing everything. Appreciate you as always. 49er Vito. What's up, sir? Appreciate
Our
you as
Vegas
well.
fam.
Yep. We got love for the Vegas peeps. What's up, Catherine? Good to see you. Maria. What's up, Maria? Maria, she's a Chiefs fan, but I kind of just still like her a little bit because she's a Golden Knights fan too. So
Oh, okay.
that's why I allow her to come in here, guys, because
Okay, okay.
she's a Golden Knights fan. So BC, what's up, Bryant? Good to see you. Let me get through this list real quick. As you guys are rolling in, hashtag PayBA for the first giveaway, which is going to be it's not for BA, sorry, but it is for, let me show you guys what the first giveaway is. Who's this gonna be?
Is that Vernon Davis or is that Kittle?
Kittle, if you got a suntan.
Vernon Davis.
Vernon Davis. And the stud, Jair Brown. Jair Brown, I love his like game swag. Like, on
So
all
do
his
I.
cards, he has like 3 different like outfits and they all look like really good. He knows how to wear a uniform.
He does.
So yeah, hashtag PayBA, get in there. Let me get through these. Daniel Barry, what's good? Yo. Yo. We got Joel, 49er Chanel in the house. What's up, sir? Hope you're doing well. You're always in my thoughts and prayers, always.
For
And you're
sure.
one of our day ones, so you're always going to mean so much to us. Let me get, that's through the list. All right. What's up to all those that watch back on replay that are in the building and not in the chat? You guys are always appreciated as well. And yeah, much love to everybody. Before we start, I want to touch on something that obviously is not going to be football related, but I was just looking at it again before I got on here, and that's the bridge going down freaking near Baltimore.
Oh,
Did you
yeah.
see that? The bridge
Oh,
that was hit?
absolutely, I did. Yeah.
Oh my God. Like, I can't even, like, last night when it happened, like, I went to bed, like, listening and watching shit, like, about that, and I swear I was like having nightmares that, I was on bridges and they were coming down. It's like such a scary thing that, so many people, like, our people, our fam that lives in the Bay and that uses the bridge, has to get around. And like, you never think, right? Like, it's just a normal commute that you're used to making all the time. Like, those people cross over that bridge in Baltimore all the time, and for a ship to fucking strike it, and the way that bridge came down, like, oh my God, it just made me sick to my fucking stomach. And then it's in the middle of the night, so it's like you can't see anything.
Yeah.
Rescues are like terrible because you can't see shit. Luckily there were some people that were rescued and that lived. I don't know how. Like, they must have been like falling from the very edge of the bridge, because they had said like from that top of the bridge like down to the water was like 250 or 350 feet, like something crazy. So when I first heard that, I'm like, there's no way people are surviving that fucking fall, right? And then you're stuck in the water in a car, like it has to be terrible. And then they said construction workers were on the bridge working when so
I
they
didn't see
went
that
down.
part. Okay.
Yeah. And and the ship like started like, I guess, like, because you can see in the video prior now, more videos coming out that he like lost his lights, like the whole boat, the whole ship goes completely black. And then like for a few seconds, who knows how long, but and then all of a sudden the lights come back on the ship and you can just see black smoke just pouring out of the top of it. And then the lights go off again. And then as soon as they come on, he's like colliding with that freaking thing. And now reports are coming out that said that he called like Mayday. It's possible that I'm going to collide with the bridge because I lost control. Like I have no control. And that they were able to stop cars, from continuing to go on the bridge. But the ones that were already on there, they couldn't get off in time, like what can you do? And of course, if the construction workers are on there, they said that the bridge was under maintenance at the time, but they was still, vehicles were allowed to go through. So yeah, those construction workers, obviously, they weren't able to get down in time either. Like, man, that's just such a scary, scary thing.
Yeah.
We got a special guest. So yeah, thoughts and prayers out to anybody, in that area that was affected.
Yeah.
Like they're saying like that, like a lot of transportation, like goods come in, through there from other countries and like all this shit. So who knows how long it's going to take them to get that bridge back up and all that, Tony, I see you. I'll grab you in a minute.
Yeah, I get, and it's funny too. You said I didn't read how high the bridge was from the water, and it's crazy because I remember, being in the Navy. We did a lot of water training, and they would tell us like at a certain feet when you hit the water, it's like hitting concrete. So like you said, for people to actually survive that thing is crazy, and and it's never, it's never a good thing. But I will say the best thing about the situation that it didn't happen during the daytime.
Yeah.
Because could you imagine all those cars on that bridge? Because like when I was watching it, I watched about a minute and a half of the video before the bridge collided, and I only seen like 2 cars pass by. So I'm like, okay, it's not busy, which is good. So it was probably
Yeah.
like 2, 3 in the morning or something like that. I don't know. I'm guessing, but it's just a blessing that it didn't happen like at 10 o'clock in the morning because that would have been a disaster.
I agree.
More than what it already has been. So yeah.
Hey, Miss Debbie, I see you. Tony, what's good?
What's going on? How you guys doing?
Doing good,
Doing
man.
good. We were just, getting and talking about the bridge that went down over there by Baltimore.
Yeah, it's
Getting our
crazy,
first
right?
giveaway ready. Yeah, that was like it's scary. Every video I see of it is still just like, oh my God, like I can't believe, like the ship could hit one freaking part of the bridge over here and that whole fucking thing goes down. Like, oh
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all tied in together. You take it's like if you're standing up and someone sweeps your legs, you're gonna fall down.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's sad though.
Yep. Yeah. Hashtag PayBA for the first giveaway. Let's go ahead and knock that out of the way before we get
Cool.
into some football talk.
Okay. Dawn
There's only
posted it was at 1:41 a.m. So yeah.
There's only a few of you in there, but that's why we start off with a opening giveaway because it's good for the early birds. Let me share this real quick. All right. Again, this is for Jair Brown and Vernon Davis. We're drawing Vernon Davis first, and then Jair Brown. All right. Good luck, fam. Good luck. Good luck. Let's roll. Vernon Davis. Miss Debbie.
Damn,
Debbie has the best luck.
She be cleaning up.
We told you all about those, that good stuff happens to good people.
That's
there
right.
You go.
It really does.
All right. And for Jair Brown, good luck.
You can't get much better than Miss Debbie.
Exactly. Dawn. See? Dawn too. She's going to get moderator of the month and she's winning moderator of the year. I mean, she's winning everything. Congrats, Don. Congrats, Miss Debbie. For the second giveaway, you guys can go ahead and get your little booties in there. It's going to be, hold on, let me set it first because then you guys will be messing up stuff. It's going to be hashtag smile for the second giveaway, which is, yeah, which is for, hold on, I see my internet's being shitty. Let me stop sharing this. All right, so second giveaway will be for CMC Fireworks. We got Nick Bosa, Men of Mastery, and Debo.
Okay.
A little sparkly prismatic, not a green one. So that'll be for the second giveaway. And then just so that you guys know, to end it, we got, you know, QB1, Brock Purdy, hype, and we got the artwork of George Kittle. You guys know the deal, as you know, always signed, numbered, all that good stuff. So that'll be to end the show. I am closing the show with a moderator giveaway as well. So those ones that are still in the building at that time, I can't have you enter now because it doesn't last that long. We found out. So, but this will be going to the moderator giveaway.
Mitchell.
Autographed Elijah Mitchell. Something to say, you know, a little thank you to you guys. We appreciate y'all for everything that you guys do. And yeah, so get into the second giveaway, hashtag smile. Let's get into the coaches, owners, GMs, all work together with the NFL. So we have some things to talk about, you know, that were said by all of them, which we'll get into in a little bit. But to start it off, we had a few, I think there was like 10 or 15 NFL rules changes that will go into effect in this upcoming season. Some are, you know, whatever things. And then some definitely we're going to have to get used to. One of those is the kickoff rule change. Now, I saw a lot of people, I don't watch the XFL, you know, religiously. I've seen a game here or there, you know, whatever. But I saw a lot of people when this rule change, you know, went out there on social media saying that it was basically how they do it in the XFL. Now, whether that's true or not true, like I said, I have no idea. But I do have a video to show you guys that kind of explains a little bit about it, and then we'll go ahead and talk about it, get your thoughts, and then we'll talk about the other rule changes that go into effect, as well as, you know, the hip drop tackle is one that is going into effect that a lot of people aren't too happy about. So we'll definitely get into that. But I wanted to show this video because I thought that it just helps, you know, kind of understand, you know, a little bit what's going to be happening. So let me share it here. It's not very long. All right. Let me make sure. Can you guys see that?
Yeah, I can see it.
All right. Let me see if I can make it bigger. All right. Here we go. All right. So, yeah, there's that. Um, definitely interesting. I thought the whole, I don't know, let me get your guys' thoughts on it and just wrap it in there with what your guys' feelings are on the hip drop tackle being taken out of the game. I did listen to like probably a good 10 to 15 videos from either ex football players or, people that talk about football, um, and, heard their thoughts on that whole situation. So if you guys say anything different than, what they said, or if there's anything to add, I'll add that at the end. But yeah, Tony, thoughts on, the rule changes, if there's any other rule changes you want to talk about. There are a couple ones that I'll get into after, but I thought these were the two that seem to be the most controversial at the moment.
Listen, the kickoff one, I saw it in the XFL or the AFL, whatever the hell you want to call it, the USFL, and it's not bad. Okay, it's definitely more beneficial for, I think, the offense or the receiving team than it is the coverage team, I think. And it just seems like the NFL is going away from defensive games and trying to go to offensive games and make it more productive in points. I read something online where the NFL averages dropped from last year, I guess from 22, 23 to 23, 24 season, from like 49 points average to like 39 points average to 36. And I guess they're not happy with that.
Yeah.
So as far as the kickoff, I'm into try it. We'll try something new. I'm willing to give it a shot and see how it works. That's cool. But this hip drop bullshit, like you're talking about, like it could technically be called on every play. Like any play, every play, if there's anybody coming to the side of the ball carrier, they could call that flag on any time. And that just tells me it's the ability to control the game more. Okay. And that's what I don't like. I do not like the direction that the NFL is going in. This was a league where you've seen people get decleated, flattened out on the field, flipped head over heels, and it was normal. That's what I grew up watching football. And I'm sure the same for you, TL, and you, Miriah. It's the same thing. But like player safety, everything's about player safety, right? So you're eliminating the opportunity from somebody to be able to avoid to take a head-on impact to go from a side impact. And when I coached and when I played football, we had a drill. It was called angle pursuit, where you would have a guy stand on the sideline on the chalk and sprint down the field, and you had to figure the angle to catch him. Now, that drill ended up in a hip drop tackle because you're attacking from the angle, you're wrapping up, and you're pulling him down. So my question is this. If you have a head-on impact where the guy stands up and then you have a guy come in from the side and tackle him down from the side and pull him down, is that a hip drop violation and a flag will be thrown on a play? That's what I don't understand. This change, I'm telling you right now, if there's a company, everyone needs to find out the company who makes the yellow flags and just invest in them, because they're going to be flying all over the place, because it could be called on every play. It really can. Now, they talk about player safety. Well, you wanted to eliminate a shot to the head, a blow to the head, crown to crown impacts. By making this adjustment, you're going to have to go back to a frontal or a head-to-head impact to make a tackle. So what happened to CTE? Because of a rolled ankle? It's football. It's a contact sport. It sucks if someone gets hurt. 100%. I'm not saying everyone deserves to get hurt. I'm not saying that whatsoever. But pick your poison here. You want CTE, which is probably a little bit more severe than having a broken ankle or torn ligament in your knee or your ankle.
Yeah.
Or do you want to do the CTE route? What are we doing? I'm not a fan of it. I'm not a fan of it. This league is trending in the wrong direction. And I think now, because of this, I think it's a higher chance for people to get hurt because they're playing timid. They're playing scared because they don't want to be that can cost the team the game on defense because they're afraid to commit. They're afraid to make a hit because they're afraid of the penalty flag. I'm all about player safety, but when it gets this ticky tack, like it's a very gray area. It's a very gray area. It comes down to the officials' decision. Like, what does he see it as? And we all know these guys, sometimes you ask them if they're blind or not. But, I just feel the NFL is losing it. I think probably within 5 to 8 years, they're going to go to a flag league. And that's what it's going to come down to.
Yeah. Before you go, TL, a lot of the videos that I watched, from the football players and guys that work in the NFL, the league, whatnot, they're all saying that this is going to be something that's very hard for the refs to call in game, meaning it's going to be very hard for them to be able to see the play, see that it's the type of tackle that, they don't want, and be able to throw a flag on it. They said expect a lot of fines to come out Mondays and Tuesdays after the games are played, because that's how they're going to end up sticking it to these guys. So they said expect very few flags on it because you're not going to be able to tell in real time, but guys are going to stop tackling like that because fines will be coming Monday or Tuesday once the league reviews all the video.
Can I just ask you a question? Is this going to be called banking on the outcome of the tackled player? Like, if he gets hurt, will they throw a flag? Is this what this is like pertaining
Probably.
to?
More than likely, that's what's going to happen. And who knows if the player's going to be faking it or not. Now I can lay down. Now I can lay down and act like my leg is hurt and get a flag and get a 15-yard penalty because I'm acting like I'm hurt just to give us more leverage. You know what I'm
Then you
saying?
get up and you jog off the field, right? When you see
exactly. Exactly. So, I agree with Collie 100%. Is getting real gimmicky. The league, the league that I grew up loving, and it used to be I used to put the NFL like way above the NBA. Like, it was NFL because I love all the major sports. I'm in love with baseball. I love football. I love basketball. But man, NFL is getting harder and harder to watch. And you're right, Tony. We used to see people get declated. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I remember even in the Pro Bowl. Remember when Sean Taylor hit that punter? I
Oh
mean,
my
laid
God.
him out. You know what I mean? So like,
Yeah.
you remember that, right? So it's, it used to be like that, and now you just see it getting softer and softer every single year. And I was telling the fellas, you want to say something real quick?
It's funny you say that because I was at work the other day. We had a couple minutes downtime before we left for the night. And we were talking about like the hardest hits in the NFL. Everyone's like, Tatum, Ronnie Lott, all these guys.
Yeah.
I said, bro, I'm going to put a clip on. I want you to see this. And they saw the Pro Bowl. It's like, bro, there's no contact in the Pro Bowl. All of a sudden you see Sean Taylor like a heat sinking missile and just go boom. And you see the punter go up in the air like that. They're like, holy shit.
Yeah. I give it to the punter though. He took it like a champ. He got up like, hey, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, he
It's
laughed
just
it off.
Yeah, he walked it off. Yeah, I gave him his props because Sean Taylor was an absolute beast.
Yeah.
Rest in peace to him. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, fam. It's just getting to the point where now, like I said, these calls are now just going to be an opinion. It's going to be all depends on the ref's opinion. Oh, I think it was a hip drop or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be one of those things where, like you said, it's going to be so all over the place. You remember when they changed the quarterback rule, or where you could hit the quarterback? It was usually just in the torso area. Remember for a couple of years how people were being so like soft about like, oh, should I hit the quarterback? Should I not? Like, you know what I mean? Like getting kind of.
You're
I
thinking
feel
you're
like
not playing naturally.
that's what I was telling the fellas yesterday. I was like, it's gonna come to a point where now when you grab a guy to tackle him, now you're thinking too much. Oh, how can I throw him down? How can I hit him? And and to me, you play football, you said when you start taking out when you have to think too much, that's usually when your game ain't 100%. Usually just go out there and you do. You know what I'm saying? So
And that's when you can get hurt.
Exactly. Exactly. So, I was telling the fellas yesterday, 'cause I did a show yesterday with David McNiner, Bryant Cope, and Ty. And I was telling him, I don't know if you guys remember a cornerback named Ricky Manning Jr. So I went to high school with him. And when they took away the 5-yard rule, remember when after 5 yards you couldn't touch the receiver? And now he was like, man, my game was predicated on being physical, keeping my hand on the man so I can still look upfield, but still know where my receiver is at. You know what I mean? By keeping my hands on him. He was like, when they changed that rule, it changed my game because now I couldn't be who I was and what I was taught playing corner. It's going to be the same thing with these guys. Used to be, like you said, you go up to somebody. I was always taught you wrap them, you slide down, and then you tackle them all the way down to their ankles. You know what I'm saying? Until they can fall, whatever the case may be. And even if you didn't get the tackle, you slow down the man so you can get some help, so somebody can come and help clean that up. And now, like you said, Tony, the fact that they have to think like they're gonna be running, chasing the guy down, then right when they get to him, it's gonna be like, what do I need to do?
Yeah.
Do I just hit him? Do I do this? Do I do that? And like you said, now you're thinking too much where now you can get yourself hurt. And now it's going to be a situation where it's going to be in their heads. Like every time you tackle somebody, if a flag is being thrown, you're like, what more else can I do? Because like I said, this kind of situation is going to be an opinion. Like, at least there's some certain rules, like a face mask. A face mask is a face mask. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You grab a face mask, you saw a face mask. But with this, and me, you, and Miriah, or the referees on the field, I can be like, I don't think that was a hip drop. And you can be like, well, I think it was. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's just such a gray area that it's shameful, to be honest. So
Yeah.
it sucks. Like, and I was telling the fellas yesterday, I think the only rule to me that made sense that has been changed over the last 2 decades was the horse collar. That was the only one that I can be like, okay, I get that because you're pulling somebody straight down, running full speed. That right there, I was cool with that. But these other things that have been changing have been crazy.
Yeah.
And to go to the kickoff return thing, what's funny? I don't know if this is going to hinder the kickoff return process or help it, because we're talking about how, like, man, I miss the Devin Hesters, I miss the Percy Harvins, the Ted Gins, stuff like that, where like special teams used to be a science. You get that ball, everybody's coming full speed, and it was like, okay, you had to make the quick decisions to hit the right holes and whatever the case may be. And now it's like, the love of that has been taken away because they've been changing the punt return, kickoff return rules so much. So now
Yeah.
it's like to me, it's like, if you got somebody running full speed, okay, they say you can't run until they catch the football. And another one, Dante Hall, you got somebody, you got to wait until the ball, so it gets caught. What if somebody's sitting there trying to catch the ball, he fumbles? Now he has 15 yards to gather himself, because now nobody else is going to be able to pick up the muffed kickoff return, because they got him so much cushion now to where, oh, you can't even run until he catches the football. So that's crazy to me. They can line up on the opponent's 40 or whatever the case may be. They catch at the 25 or whatever, and nobody can move until it's caught or the ball hits the ground.
Well,
I think that's some foolishness.
Another
Go
thing
ahead.
is, like, look how the Niners spent their offseason. They added special teams players. Now, with this situation where it's controlled, was it even worth it to add these players to extensions and sign them to new free agent deals? They're special teams guys. They were specialists. They were aces in the way the special teams were played.
Yeah.
So now the question is, does this defeat the purpose? Because all the guys that they signed were pretty fast.
Yeah. And then you sign, who was it? Not Oren Burks. Who's our special teams guy that we had that we signed 2 years, 10 million?
Odom.
Odom, like that right there. Like, you paid him $5 million to really do what? Because special teams is such an art. Like, it's slept on. Special teams is funny. When you're good at it, nobody really talks about it. When you suck, everybody talks about it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I missed I brought up the Matthew Slater from the Patriots, how he was a perennial Pro Bowler just being a special teamer. How on kickoff you would see him go down, shake off 3 guys, sifting through trash to get to the ball carrier and go make a play. Now it's like, where's the technique? Like, where's the how can you separate the good from the bad special teams players when everybody's just sitting there and probably going to have to get off on one block instead? Like I said, you know how it is, Tony. You kick off, you're running full speed. You got one guy trying to block you. You use your technique. You get him off you. Go to the next guy. You get him off you. You know what I mean? Like, that's technique. You have to sift through trash to get to the ball carrier. Now you don't have to do that anymore. Now it's okay. Let me wait. Oh, he caught it. Oh, okay, cool. That's just, I don't know. It's crazy. Like I said, maybe it'll be more entertaining with the kickoff returns, because now they're giving them some more space. Because now you're giving them some more space to run. But man, like I said, these little knick-knack, these ticky-tack rule changes and stuff like that is getting comical at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah. A couple other changes that were made were the pushback. They're pushing back the trade deadline 1 week. So now it'll be the Tuesday after the week 9 games instead of after the week 8 games.
So it's usually like the first week of November going
Yeah.
into that week.
So it gets pushed back a week. The challenge rule, if you get one successful challenge, you get the third challenge instead of, remember, you used to have to get both right in order to get you a third one. Now you just have to get one right and you can get your third challenge. So there's that. The NFL teams are now allowed to place up to 2 players on IR before rosters go from 90 to 53 and still have those players designated for return during the season. Before this, any player placed on IR during training camp would be out for the season, as we saw last season with like Latu. And we know the 49ers, they always that's their way of redshirting, that we say redshirting our rookies, they place them on the list and they're off, Well, now, those guys are able to return, during the season. So that's good. If you have an injury during the beginning of the season, during training camp or whatnot, and it's only going to put them out, let's say 8 weeks, you can still put them on there and get that roster spot for the time being for somebody else, and they'll be able to come back, when they're ready, instead of just being out for the entire season. So there's that. And the third, remember this past season we had to carry 3 quarterbacks on the roster for that third quarterback to be the emergency quarterback. Now you can keep your third emergency quarterback on the practice squad, and you can have unlimited amount of times to be able to pull the quarterback up off the practice squad for game days to be your emergency quarterback. So it doesn't have to count as a player on your 53-man roster.
That's
so I think that's huge. Yeah. I like that a lot.
That's a great one.
And then before I get your guys' thoughts, on just those, before we move on, what Miss Debbie had said, and this is what I had shared, about all these fucking rule changes, and you guys want to continuously talk about player safety. Well, adding games and then changing rules to make it a weaker freaking game. Yet you still allow fucking teams to have turf in their goddamn stadiums.
Period.
So don't fucking come here talking about player safety when every single season the players are telling you they want real grass and you continue to fucking ignore it. Yet soccer teams come in to play in those stadiums and you put real grass in for them. So it's bullshit. All this player safety shit is bullshit.
Yep.
Thoughts?
No, you're absolutely right. First, I saw a comment by Tanya. 100% agree. Make sure Kyle knows these rules changes. That's hilarious. You ain't lying, Tanya. Let's make sure he knows what's going on here. I don't want to hear no excuses. But yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. I was like, they want to sit there and talk about that, and they want to have all this turf and stuff, MetLife and all this other stuff, and you're getting it from the players who are currently playing, complaining about it, and telling you that it's a part of the safety, but that you ignore that. I feel like they do what they want to do to see fit for their pockets as owners. That's what it comes down to. Now these rules about keeping extra players on the IR, stuff like that makes sense. You know what I mean? I wish, and I had thought I had read something a couple years ago. I thought that they were going to increase the roster size at some point.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, they want to add a week 17. Okay, cool. Now you want to add a week 18 from what I'm hearing, and give like 2 bye weeks or something like that. But you're still keeping the final man roster at 53, which I would say put it to like 57, 58 maybe. You know what I mean? Just put 5 more extra guys on the roster so you can have that cushion to if you need to put people on IR and stuff like that. So I don't know. I don't get it. Like these rule changes don't bother me a bit. I feel like these ones actually make sense. You know what I mean? So, I'm cool with that. So yeah. So I don't know. There's some rules that make sense. And I think I get they have the owners meeting, stuff like that. I think that they should have like some of the team captains involved in this meeting so they can tell you, like, I'm the one on the field. I'm the one putting my blood, sweat, and tears on the field. Give me my input of what I think should be fit as well. So yeah, it's one thing. Like you got to hear it from the horse's mouth sometimes, so you can sit there and hear like exactly what safety needs to be done. Because like you said, Miriah, they complain about this turf, which I don't blame them. But then, like you said, they ask for real grass, which to me is probably cheaper. You know what I'm saying? Like you just have to have your landscapers on there maintain it. Like I give it to the Raiders. They have both. They have a thing where they slide out turf, slide out grass, stuff like that,
Mhm.
which is cool. Like they give you the option. So, I don't know. It's just I don't know. These rules are getting comical, but like I said, these last ones that you just mentioned, it does make sense for an NFL standpoint. You can go ahead, Tony.
No, I mean, I agree with everything you said. You touched on everything. I wanted to talk about the field, that adding another maybe 4 spots to the active roster. I
Mhm.
mean, what does it cost, right? Well, it doesn't cost the league nothing. Maybe it might cost somebody potentially out of if they do 53, it's 40, 48 or 46 on game day. So you go to 50 on game day, and you go from
Mhm.
50 to what,
I think it's 40.
57?
Oh, you're talking about for playoffs?
Yeah, no, I'm just saying in period. Like it's 46 for dress. If you bump
Correct.
that to
Yeah,
50
yeah,
and add 4 more players, so
yeah,
you bump your overall roster to 57. So, like, I mean, the chances of you having to pay a pension out for the guys on the tail end of that roster are slim to none.
yeah.
So, if you're really that focused on player safety, right? Player safety, you got to keep our players healthy. Bump the rosters out. You want to
Yep.
add weeks? Keep bumping the rosters out. Then you could play more weeks. You want to make more money? Give the teams more bodies to work with. And that's how
Mhm.
save their bodies, extend their careers. You keep the game competitive. It's stuff that, yes, player safety, but it's only player safety so they can have the final say, but using player safety as an excuse,
Mhm.
right? It's a snap decision on the hip drop, right?
Yeah.
Blow to the head,
Mhm.
right? How many times have we seen a flag on a blow to the head and the guy's face mask was on the shoulder pads? They called that. Like it's bullshit. Like, you want to be that strict and you want to truly care about it. Be like, okay, this is what we're going to do. But on the backside of it, you can challenge those calls. If you feel that call was wrong, you could challenge it on the field. It's a 1-minute review with an answer after 1 minute. That's not going to extend the game by hours. That's
Mhm.
minimal.
Yeah.
The official gets 45 seconds to look at the replay, and then he makes his decision and calls it on the field. But it's clearly not. It's about control. The NFL wants final say of the outcomes of these games, and it's clear as day,
Mhm.
right? I'm not trying to make excuses, but
Yeah. And
look at
Tony,
the
like I
Super
was
Bowl.
saying too, it's like, you start looking at, first down, second down. If you like third and long and you see that your offense is struggling on that drive, like I said, it's
Yeah,
gonna increase the acting. Third down, you get tackled, oh my thigh, or whatever the case, you're gonna act like you're hurt, and then these refs are gonna be like, oh, he got hurt. Oh, it must have been a hip drop. Let me throw this flag.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's what I
Mhm.
that's what I don't like about it, because it's gonna be a lot more flopping, a lot more, oh well, and I get it. I mean, it's smart. Don't get me wrong, it's a smart move to helping your offense. But like I said, if you're getting stopped first down, second down, all of a sudden on third down, you don't get the first, player's gonna act like it hurt them, whatever the case may be. And you know how some of these referees are, especially if it's a top name player. If it's like a Justin Jefferson, he gets
Oh,
tackled
forget it.
and he
Forget it.
acts like he got hurt. Oh
He
well,
does that. He
it
does that
must be a
fish
flag. Yeah, it
spot.
must be a flag because and because of who it is, and then all of a sudden now they're getting the first down, and the defense is gonna be like, "What the hell, man? I tackled him perfectly." So what? You know what I mean? It's just that's just said. That's the best word I can think about it is comical.
See, but that's
It,
the thing you
yeah,
just said right there,
mhm,
right? You just said it. I tackled him perfectly. There's no
yeah,
perfect way to tackle anymore,
not
because
anymore. Yeah,
if it's a head-on impact, they can flag you for a direct shot using the crown of your head. If it's a side where they do the hip, quote unquote, hip drop,
yeah,
they'll throw a flag there. So what way do you tackle him?
yeah,
And what
yeah.
are you going to do? Oh shit, the guy ran by me. I can't get him from the side anymore because it'll be considered a hip drop. Keep running, buddy. No.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? It's funny, Tony. Like when let's just say somebody's running down the sideline. You got the angle. Usually you come from an angle, whatever the case may be, and you tackle. Obviously, only way you can grab him is from the side, right?
Exactly.
What are you gonna do? You're gonna grab him, hold him. Okay, hold on. Let me get in front of him and then throw him. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Like I don't know. It's crazy to me. It's gonna be
Mhm.
interesting to see how this works. And like I said, you remember when like I told earlier, if you weren't on here, you saw how people were hesitant when they changed the quarterback rule. We seen guys have a perfect chance to get a sack and would hold up and be like, I don't know if I should tackle him because I don't know if this is the right thing to do and stuff like that. And it's frustrating because you have to change your game of what you've learned since you were probably a kid, technique wise, and now you got to change it because of the simple fact that they're making these rules and making the NFL so soft.
Soft.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. That's why Tanya said to start watching rugby because, you know, they actually hit each other and stuff. So soon we'll just have to make this a rugby podcast, I guess. Per Tanya. Hashtag, what was it? Smile for the second giveaway. Let's draw those winners and get that done since, you know, we already been here 41 minutes talking about rules. Damn NFL. Changing all crazy shit. But yeah, whatever the fucking rules are, can we just make sure our team is well aware of every single rule?
Seriously.
Any that could possibly affect us down the road, please make sure the players know, like, before we get to that time, please.
Yeah.
During.
After this meeting, they need to go back to the facility, have an all hands meeting. These are the new rules going forward. I don't want to hear no excuses.
Yeah. All right. Let's draw these. We are drawing Bosa, then Debo, then CMC. Good luck. Good luck. This is for Bosa. Well, I'm not winning, so let's redraw.
That's funny.
I already got one, thanks. Rob. Congrats, Rob. Gets Bosa. All right, Debo. Good luck, good luck. Are you kidding?
Oh my gosh.
This thing's rigged.
This is fixed.
Sin.
Sin.
Sin, congrats. All right, and CMC.
Lord J said, dang, Mariah's cleaning house. David McNiner.
Lucky day. David McNiner. Congrats. McNiner. All right. Let me change this for the last giveaway. And I'll let you guys get in there. It's going to be hashtag Purdy. Hashtag Purdy for the final giveaway. If you are a mod, you're going to be entering both hashtag Purdy and hashtag mod to get into both giveaways for you guys. So yeah, everybody hashtag Purdy, mods only, add in hashtag mod. Good luck, everybody. Again, if you weren't here, this is for the final giveaway will be for Brock Purdy. Will be for the arts of George Kittle. And the mod giveaway is for the autographed Elijah Mitchell. So good luck, everybody.
Nice.
All right. So a couple things, you know, we kind of got some clarity on the coaches that have been hired and their positions and all that good stuff. So Kyle Shanahan confirmed the new 49ers DC, Nick Sorensen, will call plays while Brandon Staley will be a big part of the game plans. He's been a big part of free agency already. Kyle Shanahan said that the new 49ers assistant, Mick Lombardi, although he doesn't have a formal title yet, will help in the role vacated by Clint Kubiak, passing game coordinator. Kubiak left to obviously to the Saints. And Kyle also said, you know, on Nick Sorensen, you know, about obviously why why him this year and not last year. And he said, I thought he was close to being ready last year, and I know he's more than ready now. So they also asked, they asked Lynch and, them about the coaches and whatnot as well. And what also was said was that pretty much, for the defense, why they, hired somebody within. Kyle said that was very important to him this time to hire a DC from within. They wanted to get back to who we were on defense. Nick Sorensen has a great vision to be able to do that. And then with the addition of Brandon Staley, basically they said, with getting back to what we do on defense, they also want to be able to constantly evolve what they're doing. They don't want to just be, staying the same while the rest of the league is moving on without them. And so they said that's where Brandon Staley comes in. He can continue to add layers to what we do while staying true to who we are.
Mm-hmm.
So something, not about the coaches that are hired, but, since we're on coach talk real quick, and we didn't hear about this before, but DB coach Daniel Bullocks tore his Achilles in the Super Bowl. So obviously we know, right? We lost Dre Greenlaw for celebrating and getting a torn Achilles. Well, after the interception, Bullocks was celebrating and ended up tearing his Achilles.
Wow.
Right shortly after the Greenlaw incident. He stayed on the field for the rest of the game. Didn't know that he had tore his Achilles. He thought that he just hurt his ankle while he was celebrating. Even Kyle said he got home that night, still didn't know, and that Kyle's wife told him. And Kyle started arguing with her and was like, no, Dre Greenlaw tore his Achilles. Like, what are you talking about? And the next day on the bus, Kyle finds out that, yeah, Daniel Bullocks as well tore his Achilles. So I thought that was kind of crazy that we lost two people during the Super Bowl for celebrating and tearing their Achilles.
I'm keeping my mouth shut because I said something on Nothing But Niners and I got ripped. But
really, I'm about to go back and rewatch.
I'll tell you here, I don't give a shit. But I'm going to tell you right now, it's because of that field they practiced on. Telling you right now, 100%. Two people dropped with Achilles tendons. One of them wasn't even a player. But the coaches, they do the drills, they run around out there. The problem is this: when it comes to that field, when you go from a surface that's firm with like natural grass that you practice on week in, week out, you play on consistently, and sometimes you play on field turf, which has a little bit more cushion than a grass field. When you are on a field that has turf underneath it and then they roll sod above it, which it's not even stable, it's not, it was shifting that I heard. This is what happens. So your foot is used to having give, right? So if you take your foot, I mean, I can't do it now because my camera doesn't read. So if you do this and this is your foot and that's your leg, right? See, this is the give, right? So now you go on something more cushion and now there's more give, which pushes more stress on the tendon. So your natural range of motion is being compromised to a softer, more cushioned thing. It's like when you run you ever go to those trampoline places and you're like bouncing it and you jump off the trampoline and they got like those pads that you run on. You notice how your heel sinks further into that. That's what I think happened on that practice field. And I'm just going to be honest with you. I'm surprised there wasn't any more injuries sustained because of playing on that field. But a drastic change in surface like that at that elite, at that, how do I say, at that level of competition and those type of athletes, man, I swear to God that they're lucky that that's all they got. I mean, I don't want to say they're lucky, but it could have been worse. But clearly there was strain put on those tendons and those two people, and it caused them to rupture on the Super Bowl. I mean, Dre Greenlaw was literally jumping up and down on the sidelines and then took that step once he landed, took that step to fire off and run on the field, and he just dropped. I'm not trying to make excuses, but I'm just telling you straight up, if you change surfaces that drastic and have that much of a cushion, when you are used to running and playing and performing on certain types of depth and cushion on a field surface, this could be an outcome a result from that soft of a field turf.
Yeah.
I'm just putting it out there. And if people don't like it, I'm sorry. I'm just giving my opinion.
Hmm. Yeah, that's crazy. And two, even if you don't think it's that serious, you have a medical staff. Daniel Bullock should have been checked out that day. I'm sorry. You should have been like, hey, you know what? Let me check it out real quick. And I get it. He's probably, and everybody's pain tolerance is very different. So he might have just been like, hey, I just think I just hurt my ankle. Well, still, let me take a look at it, because then you don't have the situation where it's lingering for that many hours, goes home, and then come to find out the following day, oh, yeah, I did have a torn Achilles. That's crazy to me. Like, he
Yeah.
should have got medical attention immediately, just as a precaution. You know what I'm saying? That's what you have a medical staff on the field for. So that's kind of shameful that it took that long for them to figure that out. Um, so you said, I'm gonna I think I heard you correctly, Mariah, because my internet was kind of messing around. So you said that as far as the play calling for the D coordinator, that the players said that they just don't want to stay stagnant, that they want to evolve as well.
That's what Kyle and John said,
Oh,
that they
okay.
want to be
They want-
evolving. They want to
okay.
get back to, the 49ers defense, because they said that wasn't what there was last season.
Mhm.
So, that Nick
Yeah.
Sorensen will take us back to that, but that the Brandon Staley hire will be able to add in, basically new wrinkles to the defense that we already use.
Okay. Well, we better be careful what they ask for, because I think that Steve Wilkes was trying to bring in some new wrinkles and they complained about it. So I don't know if that's what they mean by trying to evolve, but yeah, I mean, I'm willing. Nick Sorensen, he comes from within. Obviously, it's going to be one of those things. Every time we've hired from within, it was successful with D'Amico, Saul, and stuff like that. So I'm willing to give it a chance and see what he can do. Hopefully he gets us back to that D'Amico Ryan's standard type of defense. You know what I mean? Because that's one guy that is surely missed. I miss that guy. So yeah, I mean, it's funny. He said he brought in Brandon Staley to help and stuff like that. I hope he's actually going to be involved in the game plan. I know he didn't do well as a coach, but he was a good defensive coordinator, and hopefully he's not like Anthony Lynn, because a lot of people forgot Anthony Lynn was even on the team. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I like to stay positive and see what's going to happen. I remember we had this discussion before. Every time they hire somebody, it's not going to make the whole fan base happy. We just got to wait
Right.
and see. You know what I mean? So people all, oh, I wanted this guy, I wanted that guy. We talked about it before, how people were pissed
Yeah.
about the Brian Greasy hire, and it's like, dude, give it a chance. It's not like the
Mhm.
man, he
The
didn't
great
play
hire.
football effectively. He played for a decade and made a Pro Bowl. Like, he knows the quarterback position. Well, he's
And
never
that
coached. Okay, well, give him a chance. And look, he picked our starting quarterback right now. So you gotta let stuff play out sometimes and see what happens. But sometimes a fresh face is good to go. Sometimes it's a good thing. But I just hope that these players on defense are happy with what stuff is going to be called. They got to understand. Sometimes people are going to try to bring a new wrinkle in to see what's going to work and see what's not going to work and stuff like that. And you just got to embrace it and see what happens. So yeah.
I think, to be honest with you, I like the hire of Staley, and I like how he brought Staley in as the assistant head coach. The way I see that, I do like the hire of Sorensen. I was kind of hoping maybe Sorensen would have been the guy last year and
Yeah.
give him a year, to work through this. But I do like Sorensen. Sorensen was a very highly respected coach by Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll really liked him, had faith in him and confidence in him, and brought him up. But unfortunately, he went to Jacksonville due to an emergency situation with now our current special teams coach, who had to step away from the game, and he took a special teams coordinator role there. So, I mean, granted, it might not have been the best decision, but it was a young, up and coming defensive minded coach, and I have no problem with that hire. And how Kyle hired Staley to come in, who X and O wise, I mean, listen, I know people say he sucks, he's garbage. Yeah, as a head coach, we'll do that. I agree with you. But you take him out of that, you put him back in his strength and let him be responsible just for his strength. This is different. Okay. Not a lot of guys, have successful coaching careers when they look at Fangio, right? Fangio was the head
Fangio.
coach of the Broncos. They ran his ass out of town, but
Yeah.
he's still a very successful defensive coordinator.
Exactly.
So with that being said, I like the hire of him. And I think this is Kyle saying, okay, from what he did last year and how heavily involved with game planning he was with Wilks and helping Wilks throughout the season, and especially, I think Kyle Shanahan was heavily involved with the game plan in the Super Bowl. Heavily. I don't care what anyone says. That's just my opinion. I really believe it. And when he ran out and called that timeout like that, that tells me he made a call that Kyle did not like or was against, and that's why he did that, because it went against the game plan of what he saw and what he helped him install.
Mm-hmm.
So my point being is this. I think Kyle, after last season, finally realized, listen, I need to focus on the offensive side of the ball. Yes, I can have my eyes going on the defensive side of the ball, have my ear open 100%. I'm still going to do that. But by doing this, it frees him from the defense. He can focus on the offense, do what he needs to do, add a curve to the offense, a different element like we talked about. But now essentially this makes the defense, and I have a feeling it's not going to be the same weekly 49ers defense where teams started to pick up on last season towards the season's end, right? Because we saw production from the defense totally drop off the edge.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to be a week-to-week game plan, and Staley's going to be responsible for it with the defensive coordinator now. Sorensen. Yeah. And they're going to work hand in hand. I don't think it's going to be a 3-4 front, but I do think you potentially can see wrinkles in this defense where teams have not seen yet. And it's going to be just enough to keep offensive coordinators off balance, saying, okay, what's it going to be this week? Are we going to see a blitz-heavy attack? Are we going to see a heavy zone attack? Are we going to see a heavy man attack? Like, what are they going to do this week? Because every week seems like it's something new. And that's what you want. You want offensive coordinators to be, shit, what are we doing this week? What's our game plan? Because we don't know what it's going to be from the Niners. I mean, basic foundation, we know what we're getting. But situational packages, I think that's where you might see the difference.
Yeah, that's some excellent points, Tony.
Yep. I don't think nobody thinks that it's just Wilkes' fault that we lost, Tanya. There's enough blame to go around. Just because we're picking out the faults of one person doesn't mean that there ain't enough faults for the other person as well.
No, I'm not saying it's 100% Wilkes' fault. No, not at all. I mean, there were some things like, the typical things, right? The offense in the Super Bowl, they just didn't show up early. They fumbled the ball in the first possession, and that just set the tone for the game. But, the Super Bowl is behind us. We're behind the Super Bowl. We're past the Super Bowl, and we're just going to move forward. But I just don't think the trust was there between the two of them, and I think that's a major issue.
Mm-hmm. And then too, let's just be honest here. Even though the coaches and the GMs do what they do, the players run the team. Let's just be honest here. When the players are speaking that, when you have the your golden guy, your golden boy on defense is Bosa. When Bosa said it, then you got Fred Warner making comments, stuff like that. Then it's like, okay, when you have our best guys making comments, the writing was on the wall. Like, he was gone. You know what I'm saying? So.
Right. They're so successful in playing within that scheme. Now, I will tell you this. There was a difference from Saleh to D'Amico. But the difference from Saleh to D'Amico wasn't as drastic as we saw, or a dip in play from what we've seen from D'Amico to Wilkes.
Yeah. And let's just be honest here too. Like, you had D'Amico Ryans, who was in that system for years.
Mm-hmm.
Even though he was, he started off as a quality control, all this other stuff. He been there, done that. So when you get somebody who was that successful on this defense, who was there for 5 years and saw what was going on, then you get somebody else in who's trying to, implement his own scheme, and then try to run what the Niners ran. It's going to be tough year one, because you guys remember too when Saleh first left. D'Amico struggled in the beginning. You remember first couple of games, people were like, "Oh, D'Amico Ryans, we should have kept Saleh," and this, this 49er fan base is emotional and they live too much in the moment. So they were calling for D'Amico Ryans' job early on, and then he finally, he figured it out and he stayed, and then he got 2 years with this defense after already knowing what was going on. So it's gonna be tough, you get somebody new to take somebody's job who's a seasoned vet at that job is going to be hard to compare. I truly believe if Wilkes stayed a second season, he didn't get fired, I think he would have did a better job. But obviously, like I said, there was so much a disconnect. The players didn't like some of his play calling and stuff like that. So, fortunately, he had to go because it wasn't going to be anybody else except for Wilkes that was leaving this team. So,
Yeah. Kyle ain't gonna fire himself. That's for damn sure. So.
absolutely not.
We can sit here and blame him or not blame him all we want. Either way, people are going to be mad at us because we didn't put enough blame on him. People are going to be mad at us because we didn't blame him enough. But at the end of the day, he ain't going to fire his damn self anyway. So it really don't matter.
Nope.
So be mad at your own self, Tanya, okay?
But the sad thing is this: if they ever fire Kyle, he'd be hired tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's true.
That's the sad thing about it.
And it's like, I get it, right? We don't want to just always be regular season champs. Like, the point is to win a Super Bowl. But I also understand when people are like, well, if we fire Kyle, who else are we going to hire? Because is that person going to be able to win us a Super Bowl in the next year, 2 years, 3 years, like what you guys all want? I highly doubt it.
Yeah. And to me, I kind of hate that talk of like who else is out there, who are we going to replace them with. I'm not saying you, Miriah, just people in general, because you're nobody until you're somebody.
Yeah.
So so you don't know who can do what. Seriously, you don't know who can do what they can do. Like you don't know who's going to come in. Like, am I right or wrong though? Like did you
a year though?
Did anybody think D'Amico was going to do what he did? No, not even close. Everybody talked about the Texans winning 6 games, and this man turned that team around. So you don't know who's out there until you get them. But like I said, I get it. Like people are, well, before him, Tom Sula and blah blah, Chip Kelly, man. Okay, cool. But just and then here's the thing too about it though. You can argue, that he's had the best roster in the NFL, top 5 last 3 years. We haven't won anything. So are you that comfortable saying, oh, he can come to my team and turn it around? Like I said, you're right though, Tom. I'm not arguing. If he's fired to March 26th, he'll be fired. He'll be hired on March 27th just because of who he is.
Don't forget, he also inherited the worst roster.
Yeah,
and turned it into a Super Bowl roster in 3 years.
Exactly. He did.
But he don't get that. He don't get that grace. He don't get the grace for putting together the shitty team.
It's funny. I got into an argument with a guy. This is when Kyle started off slow. The year they went on that run in the latter part of the season to go to the NFC Championship and lose. I think it was not last year, the year before. And this guy swore. I don't even remember. I wish it was because I would just love to message him and say, "What do you think about this?" But this guy swore up and down, fire Shanahan, he sucks, blah, 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 blah. Go hire Ken Dorsey. Now, Ken Dorsey got fired, and he's the assistant offensive coordinator in Cleveland. What are we talking about? Like, you want to walk away from a guy who improved this offense probably to one of the most potent offense in a very long time in 49er history and just say, bye. Like, I just don't get the logic of people. Is Kyle Shanahan perfect? No, he's not. But I'm going to tell you this, how he turned his team around and as quickly as he did it and how he kept this team together. And the most important thing, this team never, ever, ever quit on Kyle Shanahan or sold Kyle Shanahan out or threw him under the bus. Not once since 2017. And it's 7 years. We're going in our 7th year. We're going in the 7th year with Kyle Shanahan, and his team still fights and still has his back, and they still talk positive. So he's not going nowhere.
No.
Does he need to win a Super Bowl? Yes, he needs to win a Super Bowl, and I think the pressure is mounting. But there's not one coach out there that I would say easily, okay, he's going to bring us to a Super Bowl. And please don't say Bill Belichick because he hasn't been to the playoffs since Tom Brady left. Don't do it.
Yeah. Hey, Miriah, before you go on, I want to address this comment. No, you're fine, brother.
You're fine.
Paul Price. Come on, my guy. To say you sit there and saying you can't give D'Amico Ryans his props for turning that Texans team around, only CJ Stroud. Well, let me tell you something. He traded up to get into the top 2 to grab him a franchise quarterback year 1. He didn't wait. He sat there and said, I know what it needs to take to be successful. He went and traded up to get 2 picks in the top 5 to get Will Anderson and CJ Stroud. So to just say it was only Stroud that turned the Texans around is foolishness. Come on, brother. You got to give D'Amico Ryans his credit for that one.
No matter what we say, Paul's gonna say the opposite in the chat. So
Yeah, that's some absolute foolishness.
I just stopped reading it because I'll be pissed off at the beginning of the show, and I ain't trying to be mad the entire show. So, Tanya, I agree. Shit, we're getting old, sis. We don't have very much longer around here. All of us on this panel are getting old, right, and we don't have very much time left to be waiting for a fucking Super Bowl. Okay. So as much as I do, I like Kyle. Is he perfect? Of course not. I could go on and list 6,000 things that he's probably done wrong in the last 8 whatever years he's been here. But I can also flip the page and list 6,000 things that he's done right too. So here we are. I saw who brought up that comment. Let me find it real quick. This Collie, what's up, Collie? Said what Jed York said bothered me. I'm tired of coming up short. ADD didn't settle for second place.
Correct.
So those that haven't heard the Jed York interview yet, it started with him being asked, shout out to Grant, says, so many years ago, whatever, you told us that you will not hang championship banners because you don't hang banners for second place, right? And so then Grant goes, so what has changed? Because prior to the playoffs, like the last time that we talked to you, you told us that even if you had lost in the NFC Championship, that you would say it was a successful season this season. And so he went on to say, you know, well, because we had such a great season, I don't want it to be taken for granted. He went on to say, which I agree with this point, that the teams that could get kicked out in the first round, Cowboys, or not even make the playoffs, get more credit than the teams that make it to the Super Bowl and lose in the Super Bowl. When you made it so much fucking further than the Cowboys that kicked out in the first round. But now all of a sudden you look like the trash team, and fans want to talk about, all you guys do is lose and you choke and yada yada. But at least you have to make it to the Super Bowl to win it. If you're not even making it there, like the Cowboys, you have no fucking chance of winning it. 0% chance. At least the 49ers have 50% chance of winning the fucking Super Bowl because they get there. So if you want to go be for a loser team like the Cowboys, and yeah, then you have something to be pissed off about, that your team can't even fucking make it to round 2 of the playoffs year after year after year after year. Yet our fans want to continuously cry that, we get to the Super Bowl. Oh, man, we got to the Super Bowl. So let's go back to winning fucking 8 games this season. Is that where we're at? We would rather that. We would rather go back to what TL said. We would rather a coach with like Chip Kelly. We'd rather go back to winning fucking 2 games a season, because all I've heard from the last 2 months is bitching and fucking complaining. Kyle's not good enough. This is not good enough. These players aren't good enough. These players that they bring onto the team aren't good enough. Nothing is good enough. So that's where we're at. I mean, I agree. You got to win a fucking Super Bowl. But at the same time, I don't want to be a loser in the fucking meantime.
Mariah, you got to understand something. This is what some people don't understand. I'm not saying this at Callie because Callie's knowledgeable, but I'm just going to say this. In 1993, the NFL implemented the salary cap. I think it was 1992, or was it 1993? Right? So they implemented the salary cap. So that offseason, when they lost, Eddie DeBartolo said, I'm not losing another game, and we're going out and building a defense and coming to win the Super Bowl. And they did. But let me just be clear, okay? Let me be very clear. That defense consisted of, even though he did not play, Richard Dent, a Hall of Fame pass rusher. Ricky Jackson, a Hall of Fame pass rusher. Stubblefield, Bryant Young, 2 tanks. Was Stubblefield there?
In 92? Yeah, I think he was. Him, wasn't it? You said it
Yeah,
in the Super Bowl.
Stubblefield and Bryant Young, they both were there.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Dennis Brown as a rotational piece. Rhett Hall. You had all these. Tim Harris, Charles Mann, I think Charles Mann's even a Hall of Fame pass rusher. Then hold on, we're gonna go to the linebacking core. Lee Woodall, aka Evander Holyfield, Gary Plummer, and Ken Norton. Let's go to the secondary now. Hold on to your pants for this one. Probably the best cornerback to ever step on the field in Deion Sanders.
Mm-hmm.
Tim McDonald, an excellent safety. Merton Hanks, an excellent free safety. And
Yeah,
Eric
Eric
Davis,
Davis. Yep.
who was probably the worst player on that defense. That's how
That's
good it
crazy.
was.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not a knock against Eric Davis, because I thought Eric Davis was one hell of a corner for the 49ers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So essentially, we'll talk about that defense. But now let's go to the offensive side of the ball and the pieces that they added there. Bart Oates, probably a top 5 center to ever play the league. They drafted William Floyd. They had Brent Jones. They had Rice Taylor. They added Ed McCaffrey.
Ed McCaffrey. Yeah, he was. Yep.
Okay.
Nate Singleton, right? Wasn't he the
Nate
other
Singleton
receiver?
was also there.
Yep.
This team was just stacked from top to bottom. Okay. And you're right. I forgot Tim Harris, too. I'm sorry. Tim Harris. This
Yep.
gunshots, 16 shots, 6 shots sling, or whatever.
Yep.
But my point is this. It is very hard today to field that type of roster with this salary cap and players asking for money that they're asking for. It is borderline impossible. Okay? So, yes, Eddie DeBartolo did that move, 100%. But if you look at it, Jed York hasn't been that much different with the mentality of Eddie DeBartolo. Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch knocked on his door and said, listen, we want to go up and get this quarterback. We have to forfeit X, Y, and Z. Do it. If you think he's the guy to win, do it. Jed, can we talk to you? Come in. Not only are we paying Eric Armstead $25 million a year, but we want to bring in Javon Hargrave for another $22 million a year. If it's going to make this team win, do it. Listen, Jed, we got to extend Bosa. $30 million a year, do it. I don't want to hear shit about Jed York not wanting to win. I don't. Is he the Eddie DeBartolo mentality where it's like either you win or you're fired? No, it's not. That's where the difference is. But as far as spending and committing to bring the best team on that field every Sunday for the NFL season, upcoming NFL season, I think Jed York has done a fine job.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you want to take it back before Jed York took over to Denise and John York, then you could say, listen, they didn't want to spend money. It was a different story. But anything John and Kyle needed, Jed York said, you have the green light to do it. And let me tell you something. You're talking about Buco Bucks, because if you look at what's his name's contract, it's before they restructured him this offseason, they could have got out of that deal at the end of this season coming up of 2024 going into 25, because they gave him a signing bonus in the first 2 years of that deal, and where Jed York cut him a nice check, cash. Like they cut him a check, like live money up front to sign. So I don't want to hear like, oh, cheap. No, it's not cheap. The problem is this fan base sees him as being laid back and conservative and doesn't have that killer mentality. There's 2 different ways you could do it. Maybe Eddie DeBartolo's mentality wouldn't fly with an NFL team these days. I mean, look at all the issues Jerry Jones is having, right?
Yeah.
So it's just tough to say. I mean, I think Jed, Jed is Jed. He bought full control. I think he has full control of the team right now. I think he bought it out.
He bought it from his mom and dad. Yeah.
Congratulations to him.
Yeah.
And I think he surrounded himself with a good staff, good football people, good cap people. And, they just got to do what they got to do. And eventually this team will win a Super Bowl. It's just today in this NFL, it is so damn hard to win a Super Bowl compared to back then. Because they let you play football back then. Today, they don't.
Yeah. And Tony, what I will say too, I'll back you up on that as well. Like I think with Jed York, I think people who are old school, me, the colleagues of the world, stuff like that. I think when it comes down to it is maybe if the wording was a little bit different, he probably wouldn't get such a backlash. because I get it. Like if you of course you come into the mentality of I want to win every year. And I think if he would have been like, of course, our ultimate goal is to win the Super Bowl. So is it as successful as we want it to be? No, but I still see the season as a success because we did at least get there. You know what I'm saying? It's just so I
100%.
think that's it's the wording of it. Like for you to be like, no, I think it's a successful season. Like, old school people, but we mean a successful season, you lost.
Yeah.
But I think it's the more of it's the way you put it together, like I said. And then two, like as far as does he want to win? Yes, because if you look at our roster, you look at the Trent Williams of the world, the Fred Warners, the Debos, the Bosas, we're paying top 5 money to those positions.
Correct.
And you can't say that about everybody. We got the
Correct.
number 1 paid fullback. You know what I'm saying? We're paying people. It's just I get it, but like I said, I think we mentioned it before. I like the way we're doing it now though, because instead of like just like I said, you look at the Eric Armstead getting paid the 20 plus $1 million. Instead of getting him, you get 2 D tackles, and then you get an edge and Floyd with the who's going to give you 10 plus sacks, who's been healthy. Then you get 2 defensive tackles who has given you similar production of what Eric Armstead has, and they're healthy. So I think now as he's growing as an owner and coach, and John Lynch and Kyle are growing as GM and coaches, they're starting to sit there and look and be like, okay, we love Armstead, but man, we pay him 20 plus million. He gets hurt. Our depth is terrible. You know what I'm saying? So they're looking at it as like, I'd rather bring in quality players at a cheaper price, because like I said, everybody was always on the let's get Danielle Hunter. Okay, cool. We go and pay him 25 million. He gets hurt, then what? You got to depend on Drake Jackson and Robert Bill. You know what I'm saying? So the way they've done it, I'm okay with. That's why, like Miriah said, you kept hearing all the crying. Oh, everybody wants this big name. I want this. I want that. I
It's
want
not
that.
happening.
It's not happening. It's not happening. People aren't realistic.
Are you guys on a time strain? Like,
I'm not. No.
Okay, all right. Because I was going to say something when you're done, but go ahead.
But yeah, so you look at that stuff, and then it's like, and I'm glad that they're finally bringing in healthy bodies. We sat here and cried for years. I like D4, but man, he gets hurt too much. You bring in a Jason Verrett. They're going off of what he did in the past. Oh, Jason Verrett's a Pro Bowler. He brings in, he hardly plays. Yeah. Then you're sitting here talking about let's bring in a Tre'Davious White who hasn't been healthy in 2 years.
Yeah.
So now you're like, okay, let's go pay him. And I love Tre'Davious White. When he was healthy, he's been a great corner, probably top 5 to 7 corner when he's healthy. But you bring him in because you're looking at his name. Oh, Tre'Davious White, the name. He's made 3 straight Pro Bowls before the injury. You bring him in, you pay him good money for a 1-year deal. He sucks, then you're going back to crying again. Oh, well, man, he's hurt all the time and blah, blah, blah. Well, you wanted him because you're going off of what his name has done for you in the past. And that's the situation. Now with the Jordan Elliott's and the Malik Collins, they're looking at, okay, these guys, what can they do for us going forward and in the future? That's what they're looking at. So, I get it, fam. Every name you bring in is not going to be sexy. It's not.
And it can't. When this roster is top heavy as it is, you can't do that.
Exactly.
And this is what we talked about, like on the previous show. You have your rich, your middle class, and your poor. They need to get back and build the middle class of this roster.
Yes.
That's what this team is hurting. And moves like this is building your middle class of your roster.
It is.
Right?
Essentially, my name, Tony. You see under my name. We need to nail this upcoming draft. That's 100%. Where you build and you get that depth and you build the middle class of this roster.
100%. I agree with you. And if you look at the moves that they made as far as the defensive line, you got, like you said, Elliott, Collins, Floyd. Didn't they get another defensive lineman too? I thought there was 4 defensive linemen.
Not really. I don't know. I know those 3 for sure. But
all right, so we'll go with Elliott, Collins, and Floyd. They're all in San Francisco.
Gross Matos, is he?
Gross Matos. There you go.
Gross Matos. That's it.
Yep.
Ooh, thanks, Miriah. You saved me there.
Yep.
So you have 4 people, right, that now replace salary-wise the one person you moved on.
Exactly.
And the one person who missed 9 games last year, but he did try to play through the Super Bowl injured, and I give him all the respect for the world.
Yeah.
But the thing is this: when you're that top heavy, someone's got to go, and next year it's going to be somebody else.
Yeah.
Okay. But my point is this: they have to focus on that middle class, and those free agent signings scream middle class. Low deals, nothing crazy, moderate players with opportunity to make money and incentives and down the road if they last, right? If they make it and they're successful. I saw someone in the chat. I don't know if it was Callie's. Yeah, we signed Hargrave, but we lost Ebukam and
Amenahue.
Omenihu, right? Well, guess what? Gross Matos is your Ebukam, your Omenihu. Okay. You bring in 2 defensive tackles, and then your other defensive end is your pass rusher that you've been missing this whole time. Yes, the Niners went out and made an attempt for D Ford, swung and miss. But guess what? Last year, they played several players and coaches that were no longer a part of this organization and haven't been for multiple years. That's D Ford and Chip Kelly. So I don't want to hear that Jed York is cheap. He's not cheap. This man is paid cash out of his pocket. He fired Jim Harbaugh because of the toxic the toxicity in the building between him and Balky. He stuck with Balky because he thought Balky, he could trust in him. The next year, he was out. Jed York saw what he did was wrong. He recognized it. He corrected it. And guess what? The Niners haven't had a talk about a coach or a GM in going on 7 years. But here's the kicker. Everyone's coming to his staff to hire coaches, GMs for their teams. So that tells me they're doing something right in that organization, right? Not perfect, again, but they're doing something right. There is a culture that was installed by these 2 guys. And I'm telling you guys right now, do not sleep. I just saw his name pop up in the chat. Beal, do not sleep on that kid.
I think he's going to be good.
Do not sleep on this kid. I think he needs another year.
That's what I think.
A full off season in the weight room. Get his body going. This kid is a freak athlete. And if he could put it all together, watch out.
Yeah. And I think you're right. Him, if he wants to sit there and get with Bosa after practice or whatever, learn to be a technician. There's a little light in the tail right now, but if, like you said, another year in the weight room, getting stronger, he's going to be a problem because, like I said, I agree with you. He's a physical specimen. He just needs to put it all together. That's why he was picked where he was. But if he gets a little bit stronger, puts on a little bit more weight, and learns how to be a better technician, he could be that guy, man. He could be that guy in 2 years when Floyd is gone. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
And just another thing, good teams, right? Let's go back, and I'll shut up. I'll stop talking. I'm sorry, but
you're fine, Tony.
Miriah wants to talk probably, so I'm just gonna So if you go back before the offseason officially started, right, and you look at your top 5 teams in the draft, Chicago, who else? Chicago, Washington.
I don't even know the draft order right now.
Chicago, Washington. Give me 1 second.
I know Arizona's up there.
Arizona.
Giants.
It's Chicago, Washington, New England.
Okay.
Arizona, and then Chargers. That rounds out the top 5.
So take the Chargers out of it because of the salary cap issues that they have. But look at all those teams in the top 4. All have an abundance of salary cap, all picking in the top 4, and all suck. They're not playoff caliber teams. And it's not a knock against them. It's moves that they decide to make to move on from players, to restart their organization. You don't win a championship in free agency. You win it in the draft because it's controlled. It's controlled contracts, and you supplement in free agency. Now, when I say supplement, you can go 1 or 2 ways. You go out and make a splash for Hargrave. Bang, you're done with your offseason. You got your piece. Number 1 free agent. Or you add multiple pieces to cover for one player that you moved on. 2 different styles of doing it, right? Look at what the 49ers did. That's how you sustain a Super Bowl window and keep a competitive roster together. But 2025, we could be talking about something different. Maybe 2026 when someone has to get paid.
Yeah.
That's going to be an issue if the cap doesn't balloon $50 million next year.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's why too. Like you look at what's going on. And we'll move on to the topic. But you look at. I feel like good teams prepare for the future. Like I think that Kittle was one of these guys. In probably 2 years, he might be moved off or might retire, wherever the case may be. So what do? They drafted a Cameron Latu and a Braden Willis. Yes, I know it's not high draft picks, but neither was Kittle. You know what I'm saying? He was a 5th rounder. So you look at it, and they're probably preparing. Like, man, hopefully one of these guys hits. Don't expect them to be as good as Kittle, but I just need a starting caliber tight end to give me some stuff, to make my offense go so they prepare for the future. So I think, you start looking at it, you draft and like now, like you said, you look at let's just say the offensive line situation. You sign McKivitz to a 1 year deal. Trent Williams said he's coming back for one more year. So what do you do now? You need to draft somebody and bring them in, groom them so next year they step in. You know what I'm saying? So I think, like you said, the draft is so crucial because you look at your contracts, you look at, okay, who are we going to keep? First of all, is who do we have to pay? That's what you're looking at. Who can we afford to get rid of? So you start looking at it, and then you start. That's how you draft. You draft from I need this, I need that, I need that, and then you draft. So yeah, and I think that's just the way good teams do. And I think the 49ers have done that. Like I said, you look at, we lost Aziz. Yeah, you signed Dre Greenlaw. They drafted the D Winners and the Jalen Graham. You know what I'm saying? You bring in players for the positions that are kind of like, okay, short contracts or somebody's going to be on their way out. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. And that's
Yeah,
it.
and they kind of talked about that today when they I forget what question they were asked, or I think it was John was asked about Aiyuk, and or maybe it was Jed. I don't remember now, but they kind of talked about, that there's nothing better than drafting guys, them becoming stars, like, you molding them to be exactly what I say about Aiyuk, molded into our perfect wide receiver. But instead of letting them go flourish elsewhere, like, you pay them, because like they were talking about, like, the stars, the nucleus on our team right now, they're old. Like, you need to start paying our young guys to now start this new nucleus that we need to move into the future with, and they talked about paying Brock Purdy, and also as well with that talked about, like, well, wouldn't you want to extend Aiyuk, because Brock Purdy needs a number one wide receiver? Like, wouldn't you want Aiyuk on a team, because that's going to make Brock Purdy flourish? Like, everybody wants to act like it's so easy to go out there and just replace Aiyuk. Like, it took 3-4 years to Aiyuk to turn into this, like, we're not just going to go draft some freaking rookie and he's all going to come in and have 1,500 yards in this freaking offense under Kyle Shanahan, when we know how he is with wide receivers, and like Lynch said that specifically, like, look what Aiyuk had to go through to become what he is now. Like, why would we start that process all over to go draft these young guys and then have to come in, go to Kyle, who Kyle's up to here with what he expects from his wide receivers, put him in the doghouse, go through all this shit, learn how to, block, learn how to run routes, learn how to do all this shit, how Kyle wants it done, get the rapport with your quarterback, all this shit that we already have. Like, you just need to pay the guy, and on top of that too, Jed had said that he knows that Purdy needs to be paid coming up next season, and that he expects Purdy to break the quarterback market. So there's that.
I gotta be honest with you, Miriah. I believe them, because how they handled every contract. And listen to me, just because the Niners don't jump at the first offer from the agent doesn't mean that they're not ready for that. They have their number. And what transpires is, if they feel that they're not going to budge to their number or come $1 million or so closer to their number, where they could maybe tinker with the wording and the structure of it to get it to where they need it to be, they'll pull a trade like they did with Buckner. But I'm going to tell you right now, if the 49ers draft Malachi Corley, that says something about who the move is going to be next year.
He plays just like Debo. Have you seen him play?
Yeah, I watched him. I'm starting to get my little draft thing going here. I'm very behind, but I'm telling you now, the 49ers in this draft class, again, we talked about it, they could really restock that middle part of the roster with this draft class.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The 49ers know they have to pay people. And how many years this team has been through drafts and drafting all these freaking people, and they just cut them and eat that guaranteed money, but they never extend anybody. Finally, since this regime taken over, every year they drafted, they extended somebody, at least one person from their draft class.
Yeah.
That's foundational pieces that you're building to make this team relevant for a long time. But now on the flip side of it is when you pay these players who overperform their rookie contracts and perform their extensions, you have to pay market value. Now, when you pay market value, that alters your ability to go and bring in a big guy, a big high price free agent, which is not what you want to do, but it takes a successful teams built to the draft, and that's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, I hear you on that, Sam.
Yeah. All right, let's draw these last giveaways. Hashtag Purdy to be in the final giveaway. Any mods that are here that didn't enter the mod giveaway, hashtag mod as well. Let's draw these. Let me share. Then we'll get our closing thoughts and get out of here.
Sorry if I dragged it.
Oh, no, you're good.
No, you're fine, man.
Oh, man.
All right.
Hashtag Purdy.
All right, so this final giveaway is for Purdy, who we will be drawing first, and then George Kittle, and then we'll do the mod giveaway after that. So good luck. Good luck. Let's draw. This is for Purdy.
Damn!
Sam.
Congrats, Sin.
Sin, go play the lottery.
All right. For Kittle. Good luck. John V.
There he is, Johnny V.
Johnny V. Congrats, congrats. All right, let me draw this mod winner. Let me fix this real quick.
I miss John V when he came here for the Super Bowl. That's my guy right there. He's such a cool dude in person.
Yeah, John's a cool dude.
He's a cool cat, man.
I want to go hang out with him one day if they play in Cleveland. I swear to God.
All right. Mods, did you get in there?
Yeah, I seen
mods that are here.
Oh,
well, re-get in
that's
there because
crazy.
it does say your
One
name.
entry.
Hashtag mod. McNiner, Don, Miss Debbie.
Did Tanya's go through? Because I seen hers too.
Tanya.
What do you
All
guys
of
think
you
of the new draft
mods.
hats?
The new what?
I like
The
them.
draft hats, the 2024 draft hats. I love
I
them.
love them.
I got the gray one. I didn't get it yet, obviously,
Okay.
but I bought it. It's on its way. I like them.
Yeah, I like it too.
I
All
got
right,
one
I see
thing.
the
Okay,
entries.
go
ahead.
ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I got one thing to stir things up before we head out.
Oh God.
This is for the chat too. I just want a quick answer. I'm gonna give three things. Ultimately, what do you guys think is gonna happen with Aiyuk this season? Is he gonna play through his 5th-year option? Are they gonna trade him, or will he sit out?
None of the above. He gets paid.
Okay. Oh, okay. That's another one too. Or gets paid. Okay, cool. Okay, let me re-ask that. Is he going to get paid? Is Brandon Aiyuk before the draft or sometime this year? Will he get traded? Will he get paid? Or will he sit out his 5th-year option? Play through his 5th-year option? Which one do you think is going to be? I think, personally, he's going to get traded.
You think so?
It's my gut feeling.
I'm kind of with you a little bit, and I'm just going to say why.
Mm-hmm.
I think who's the guy that signed the extension with Cleveland?
Oh, Jerry Jeudy?
Jerry Jeudy got 19.5 million a year for what?
Mm-hmm. And look at what Calvin Ridley got.
What did he get? I don't know the numbers.
4 years, 92 million.
So what is that? 25? 20? No.
It's
20,
not 25.
20,
22 or so.
22 million, we'll say.
Yeah, about 22.
So that puts Brandon. I swear, I think Brandon Ayuk's gonna ask for 28 million. They're gonna start their negotiations at 28.
I do too.
And
And
I don't think the Niners could do that, and I don't think they would do that. Unfortunately, I think if they could get him around the 22, 23, maybe the max 24, I think the Niners will do it. But if he's like locked on that
27, 28, then yeah.
with a high guarantee, that's the thing. Like, I don't give a shit what they announce the contract is. You got to look at the guarantee. If that guarantee's high, I don't think the Niners are going to go that high. I don't, because they could sign him to a 4-year. I'm just saying hypothetical 4-year, $200 million contract. On paper, it says he's getting $50 million a year, but we all know it's not going to be anywhere near $50 million a year. It's going to be probably $60 million guaranteed. So all that extra zeros is just paper to say look, he set the market. But I think I don't think the Niners could do that plus Debo plus Kittle plus Trent plus Bosa, because we got to remember something.
And we got to pay
Bosa's contract didn't even sniff the big money yet.
No.
And now you have Travarius Ward, Tony Ward, who's on the final year of his deal. That's going to have to get an extension.
Yeah. So
now I'm not giving him away. Like, I saw something ridiculous saying he's only worth a second-round pick. Yeah, well, you can kiss my butt. You're out of your mind. You could just, I'll go right here to kiss it. Boom, done. See, you're not dead. Fuck that. I mean, let's be real. He's getting a first-round pick. If it's more, great. But, I just can't see it. I can't see them going that type of money with a high guarantee. And I think that's what he might get because he is a good wide receiver. And there's also, the little bad, I'm sorry, pick the mod thing. I'll stop talking.
All right. Real quick. And in case somebody draws that isn't a mod, then we'll just redraw it.
All right.
Good luck, mods.
Miss Debbie, watch.
I'm gonna go call it. Oh no, this is mod. Don. Oh,
another twofer.
Yeah.
All right. Congrats, Don. Autographed. Elijah Mitchell going to you. Appreciate all the mods, though. You guys are all awesome. All right, go ahead, Tony.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't think they're going to overpay. They can't. They're not in a position to overpay. And yes, Tanya,
if I'm wrong,
we will do a shot.
Yep.
We'll do multiple shots because I love tequila.
Top shelf too. I'm not cheap.
Yeah,
top shelf tequila.
Yeah, we're doing good shit.
Yeah,
clear tequila. I don't do it.
Yeah. See, Tony, I'm with you too. Like I said, I definitely don't want that to happen. Let me get that straight. I don't know, man. Just my gut just tells me he might get traded, brother. I just have this gut feeling. It was funny. Miriah and I did a prediction of a 53-man roster last year, and they were like, "What quarterbacks are you keeping?" And I said, "We're keeping Brock, we're keeping Sam Darnold and Brandon Allen, and Trey Lance will be traded." And they were like, "What?" Everybody in the chat, "You're crazy. They're not going to trade him," and blah blah blah. What happened? They trade the man. I felt it. I'm just like, he's not going to be there. So it's just, And then, like, I want to say 2 weeks later, he was traded. So I don't know, man. It's just a gut feeling for me. I hope I'm wrong, but I'm with you on the. It's the salary thing for me as well.
That's what it is, and it's not like I don't want Aiyuk here. I want Aiyuk here. I think he'd be an excellent piece to keep around to make that next step when you have to pay Purdy. Ms. Debbie, I'm going to answer you 1 minute. To make that next step, and now you go forward, right? You make that decision. You lock up your future at the wide receiver spot. He's still young, 24, 25 years old. You can go 6 years out, and it'll be 31. So then you make your decision on Debo or any other players where the big money starts kicking in, or you have opt-outs. You can move on from one. You can backfill with a young up-and-coming guy. There's ways you could do it. I want Aiyuk here, but I just can't see this team going to a number that is out of reach for their cap structure. I just can't do it, especially when you know you have to pay your quarterback. That's where it could get really in trouble. So what's your brand, Tony, for shots? I am a huge Don Julio Blanc and Milagro Silver Reserve 100% all day, every day. Those are my two go-to tequilas. Love them.
I'm a Casamigos person. That's what I like. And I like, if I want to keep it like not cheap, but on the cheaper side, I go with the 1800 silver.
I can do silver. I can't do the Añejo. Was it Añejo or Reposado? No.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Yes. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
I get crazy when I drink that. No. I don't know what it is. That shit gets to my head. Hits me. No. No.
Ian
Cool,
Sharp
Paul.
said Calvin
Appreciate
Ridley
it.
got 23. 23 million for Calvin Ridley. That's what Ian Sharp said.
23 million for Calvin Ridley. I guarantee you. I'm saying this. The minimum he starts his negotiations at is 26 million. The minimum.
Yeah. Collie, y'all like that bougie stuff.
Yeah. Okay, you said you do unsubscribe, so get your ass out of here. You don't need to be in the chat anymore.
That dude's
Have a
so
good life.
soft.
I know.
Oh, you kicked out 4 years?
Well, no, he said he was unsubscribing.
No,
After
yeah,
I
he
made
said
the
he
Trey Lance.
unsubscribed.
Yeah, after I made the Trey Lance thing, he goes, show me the clip. Go back to me and Miriah's show last year for our 53-man roster prediction, and it's clear as day. I say it on there. I say Trey Lance will get traded. He'll be the odd man out. So go ahead and look.
Like, I don't know why that makes somebody so mad.
You always get those people. Mike and Wayne told me, bro, don't engage with the chat. I lost it once because someone said something about my daughter on the chat. I fucking lost it.
Yeah, that's.
I told the guy I'm gonna fucking kill you. I'm telling you, I lost. Mike's like, yo, I'm just gonna mute you real quick, and I just kept screaming. I didn't even know I was mute, but yeah, like you can't pay attention to some of these people in the chat.
Yeah. That's what I learned too. You can't let the bad ones ruin it for the good ones. So, fuck them. Have a nice day. Appreciate you.
Yep.
But you stayed through the whole show, so it must not have been that bad.
For real.
To say the worst podcast you ever listened to, but you sat here for an hour and 41 minutes before you said, well, shows what kind of life you have. Any closing thoughts before we get out of here?
No, that was pretty much all I had to say. I just wanted to ask everybody because we got the draft coming up in about a month, so it's just been interesting how, how things are gonna transpire and stuff. I know Miriah and I usually do a draft show, usually a day or two before the draft. So, if you guys want to come on, just let us know. Hit us up on Twitter and just be like, hey, I'd like to participate. I like to hear everybody's opinions. People, not people like Paul Price. That dude was trash. I'll say that right now. The people that's been sticking with us, through day one, and even some of the new people, And so, yeah, you guys are great. I love you. I love you guys in the chat. You guys are always supportive. I say this all the time. You guys can be told to be sitting here listening to us. And before I kick it off to Tony, somebody said, Brian, they'll be okay giving Brandon Aiyuk 18 to 20 million. That's not happening, brother. He's getting more money than that. Sorry.
18 to 20 million. I'll roll out the pen and paper right now. Yo, sign this shit. I'll drive it to him. Sign right here, bro. Right here. Woo, woo. Yeah, but unfortunately, that's not going to happen. I think probably going to get close to what he wants. And the question is in the number for the 49ers. And unfortunately, I mean, my heart says I want him here because I think that would be a great building piece and to keep the continuity between him and Purdy to go forward and, build and the franchise into the future. But, man, my man's about to get paid. And he 100% deserves it.
Yeah.
And it's trickling in the background. There was some bad blood earlier and his that stuff and not playing him. Tough love, I guess you could say, that wasn't seen as tough love by his family and himself.
Yeah.
So it could be a bumpy negotiation. If they can get it and they can get that agreement, 100%. I love it. It's great. Move forward with it. I'm with it. But damn, man, he deserves it, and he's going to get it. But let me know when you guys do that draft thing. If I'm off of work, I'll jump on with you guys.
Okay, yeah, perfect.
Yep.
I'm not prepared as well as I was last year.
Yeah.
But.
Yep, I'll let you know for sure. Appreciate you, as always, Tony, for coming on with us. Chat, appreciate all of you guys. I will be back Thursday at 3 Pacific time with Steph Sanchez for the Two Goat Show. So if I don't see you guys, talk to you guys before then, I'll see you then. Everybody have a safe rest of your week, a great rest of your week as well. Until next time, fam, we're out of here.